So I've been thinking about the fact that, I tell my clients I offer a GFE experience because I'm very intimate and central with them. I don't fake anything and I kiss them and I treat them very well. But after watching this video yesterday from the Aspiring Alphas, I'll link it in the description. I'm thinking that I offer more of a PSE, porn star experience. A porn star doesn't really require much of a man at all. Actually, I'm probably more in between. Because in a real girlfriend experience, a real girlfriend is going to get that, and she's going to have a man very attentive to her. And that's something that I have not been requiring of men for a really long time. And that's why sometimes I would think of, well, I'm just having, I'm just with these clients. What if I were to get someone on my own and I could make it all about me? And then that hasn't worked out for me either because I end up getting a little bit emotionally attached to the guy. And I still sometimes have difficulty receiving pleasure because I need to feel comfortable enough to receive. When I go back and look, like, I'm just going to be really honest with you guys here. So this is more of like a self-disclosure video, this one. Let me get my book and I'll continue. So this is a book I wrote, What I Did for Sex and What It Can Do for You, a memoir. And you will see that after my divorce, I did a lot of sexual exploring. All right, sexual exploring. And one of the things I was struggling with was trying to figure out how much pleasure I could get from a man. Could I orgasm with this man? Even if he was going down on me, I would have all these thoughts about, am I taking too long? My thoughts were getting in my way. And I had a really hard time with that. And I didn't always claim my pleasure. And honestly, the men I was with, I don't think they really cared if I had an orgasm. None of these guys cared. And I'm going to take responsibility for choosing guys who didn't care and me not being in a place where I felt like I deserved that or I wanted that. And these guys were super young. There was someone who cared, but it was really rare. And in my escort appointments, it's really rare. Now, some of it is the burden is on the man and some of it is on me. Because here's the thing. If a guy doesn't care about, in order for a woman to reach maximum pleasure and to have an orgasm, she is going to need minimum 20 minutes focused on her actual arousal, making her climax. Usually 20 minutes should do it. If she's already really turned on, it could be less, but like say you're going down on her or fingering her or something, 20 minutes should do it from a cold start, but you also may need to give her a massage and get her relaxed and, kiss on her. So I would say 20 to 30 minutes of focusing on the woman. And that is, now, if you're in a relationship, you don't have to do that every time because a woman doesn't always want to have an orgasm, doesn't need it. Sometimes a quickie is just fine for the woman, but it shouldn't be a quickie every time. And especially if you're just hooking up with someone, you want to give her a really good experience. And unless I feel like the man wants to do that, unless he's doing that because he knows that's required and he actually wants to be a good lover and wants to get pleasure out of seeing how much he can excite the woman and loves pleasing a woman, not because he's a doormat looking for her approval, but because it turns him on. That's a big difference. If you're doing it because you're simping, like, oh, I hope, do you like this? And do you like that? And please like this? And am I doing it good? No, 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 no. You want to be the leader. You want to lead, and you want to turn her on because you're the man and you love turning on women. And it gives you great pleasure. That's the energy. And very few men bring that energy. Like I said in my video I just made, I think most guys are just, they're lazy. They either they watch porn and they think a woman comes like that, or they have quickies with women who don't say anything, because often women, we don't know what we want. That's why I'm going to link this video, because this guy is right on point. A lot of women, we don't know what we want. And this guy has figured it out, and he's right on point. Except for the spitting in the mouth part. I don't like that. I've had guys try to do that, and I don't like that. To me, that's gross. But everything else he said in the video is right on point. And unless you want to do that, I'm not going to be here like, oh, I need you to make me come. Because there's nothing sexy. There's nothing sexy about having sex with a guy where I got to tell him that he has to care about my pleasure. Like, if you're not going to care about it, I want to see what you're going to do. I got to see what you got. And so when I'm thinking about all the reasons I didn't care, it's because I was trying to see what he would do. And I'm like, he's the man, he should know. What is he going to do? And if he wasn't like adamant about wanting to create the space for it, for me to have an orgasm, it wasn't going to happen, because I can claim my space and my boundaries very well. But here's my boundary around this guy is, I'm never going to fuck you again. That's it. There's the boundary. And I will say that the responsibility was on the man not caring, not knowing, or not caring, or being lazy. Like even now, most guys just lay there in bed. And I let them, because honestly, it's easier for me to just service a guy and give him what he wants. Of course, I have to enjoy it. Than for me to open my body to him and open emotionally and physically to him to receive pleasure from him is more effort for me. It requires more trust. It requires more opening. It requires a lot more. And I don't always want to give guys that. So that's why I let a lot of these guys get away with it. I noticed it with that. I don't know if you guys remember, those of you who watch my videos, about the gentleman that I briefly hooked up with in October, that was like, I'm never going to hook up again. Even with him, I picked this guy so I could have sex with the guy that made it all about me. And I had difficulty completely opening to him and trusting him, for example, to just go down on me long enough for me to climax. I didn't want him to. I didn't want him to because I didn't trust him enough yet. I didn't want to open in that way to him. Even though he wanted to go down on me, I think it was late in the afternoon and I was tired. And then I thought, okay, and then I had to decide, okay, the next time I see him, I'm going to let him go down on me and I'm going to let him make me come. But then I never did see him again, because I ended up ending it with him because I didn't like him not replying to my texts. I'm like, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to see this guy again. So I'm just trying to share with you some of the things that come up for me around this whole thing about having pleasure or orgasming or something like that. And another question I have is for this gentleman who gave the super good tips. How these women end up not getting attached to him and wanting to be exclusive with him or see him more. And maybe there are some women who are more on the, like people can be love addicted or love avoidant to varying degrees. Like you can, if you're super like love addicted, you make another person your higher power. And if you're love avoidant, you're probably like an incel, or you're like I'll never date again or whatever. But people can be just slightly, and I'm slightly more on the love addicted side than on the love avoidant side. Although I can be both. I'm probably avoidant because I'm not dating at all. But when I like a guy, I get to be a slightly more on the addicted side, I think. If he's unavailable, I don't know. This is what I think, though. Um, I think the women who are love avoidance are not going to get attached to a guy. I think that women who go around just fucking guys and just doing it for fun and not getting attached are the love avoidance. I think love avoidance can easily just go around fucking. That's what I think. Because there seem to be women who can just do it and it's no problem. So they're probably love avoidant. Like, I don't want to date. I don't want this guy close to me. They don't want any intimacy. They don't want any connection, but they want that sex. That's what I think now. I just, because I'm reading this book by Pia Melody called Facing Love Addiction, and I'll make a video about that when I'm all done. But so, I used to think, why am I not claiming my pleasure? Well, it has to be about the man wanting to give it. And most men don't want to give it. They don't want to invest the time. They don't know what they're doing. They don't want to invest the time. And so I really think that in my appointments, it's easiest. The easiest appointments are the ones where I just service the guy. Okay, I might be fucking him, but I'm not trying to come. I'm not trying to make it all about me, because when they want to make it all about me, I have to receive. And receiving is a lot harder for me unless I really like the guy and trust the guy. And the last time I really trusted a guy that much was this gentleman. If you guys watched my videos, there was this gentleman that I hooked up with like 2 years ago. He was this 20-some-year-old infantry guy. And he was amazing because he would come over even when he didn't want sex. He would come over even when he was tired. Not because he was a simp, but because he was a man who kept his word. And he would plan dates ahead, and he would show up when he said. And so I had this and I was attracted to him. He instilled in me a deep sense of trust and being valued for something other than my body. Okay? I could trust him. We didn't text during the week. See, the guy from October created a lot of abandonment stuff in me, because when I texted him, he would wait days to reply. Whereas that guy was a special ops guy in the Marine Corps, but he was in the Special Ops Division. He was 30. But the 27-year-old infantry guy, if I texted him, he would reply within an hour. And so I never got traumatized into feeling abandoned, And that's why I think some people are just better for us than others. This guy who waited days to reply, that was very traumatizing to me. If he would have just replied within an hour and said, I'll see you in a week, I would have been good. But it traumatized me. So that's why I can't be around men who traumatize me, can't be in situations that traumatize me. It's not good for me. And I'm just sharing this with you because maybe you'll realize something in yourself where situations or people traumatize you because of how they treat you. You don't have to be okay with that. It's like, okay, I get traumatized. If guys I hook up with don't text me back for days, it feels traumatizing, so I don't like that. So this is what I'm learning too. And so he would text me back within an hour, so I felt very secure. And I felt appreciated because he would make that long drive out here, even after working all day. And those infantry guys work really hard physically. And he was attentive to me in bed. Not in a simp way, but because he was like, I am going to be good in bed for me. And he seemed like he cared, And so, well, the other guy cared too, but with this 27-year-old infantry guy, I felt relaxed enough, I could trust him, because I have to trust the person to let go and focus on myself. And I could trust him enough to let go and focus on myself. And I started really enjoying the sex with him a lot more. And I felt it was also about me. However, we stopped seeing each other because we just thought it wasn't a good match, because he came over and he was like, okay, what do you want to do? And I was like, don't, it's kind of boring. Like, you should come over here with a little energy. So it's not like we're going to date or get married or something. So it wasn't really working for me. But sexually, he was very good. And so, see, that's what I realized I needed. I needed to know that I needed to feel like I wanted to open to this guy. I had to want to open to him. Now, I have been in situations with clients where like somehow I got really turned on, and I'm like, I want to come, do you mind? I've done that, but I'm not really going to count that, because I really think ultimately that the man needs to start the encounter by making it all about the woman. And I will tell you, in all of my time being single and my whole sexual history with all the men I've been with, and believe me, they're nice men. They're not narcissists. They're not abusive. Like, they're nice. They want me to enjoy it. They're not, taking advantage. They think they're pleasing me. They're not. They're not, because they're not going in trying to make it all about the woman. I know from having had sex with women, I go in there trying to make it all about the woman. Like, I want to get her off. And that's the attitude that a man needs to have in order for a woman to really enjoy it and to make her want sex. So if you're in a relationship with a woman and she doesn't want to have sex with you, it could be because you suck in bed. It could also be because of how she feels about the relationship. But ultimately, if some people don't really care about being better in bed, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just here to share my experience and to say that few men are really good in bed. And that's why my first book is called The Fuck List, because I actually made a list, because so many men sucked in bed that after these guys left, I would write their names down. I would keep a log of every guy I fucked, because I thought I should keep track of how many guys I fucked. And then after each guy's name, I would put an A, B, or C, depending on how good they were in bed. But the A guys weren't even guys that gave me an orgasm. It was just guys who were passionate with me, because my ex-husband was not. He didn't allow kissing. He didn't open his eyes. He didn't let me play romantic music. He didn't let me be on top. And these guys let me do all those things. And so I gave them an A. And then guys who were like very selfish in bed, or who were like somehow off-putting, a B or C or whatever. I didn't want to see those guys. But the A guys didn't even necessarily give me an orgasm. That was something I didn't even require. But now that I'm starting to work on my self-love and my boundaries, and just, realizing that I don't have to be okay with all that a man should put in the effort to turn on a woman, that is more important than paying for the woman, is being good in bed. That's where your effort needs to go. Like the guy on the Alpha video says, he didn't pay for anything for these women. I think he was just some broke guy. But he was good in bed, and that's why they liked him. He was good in bed, and that's why he liked him. And they didn't like sex with him because they were in love with him. They liked sex with him because he was patient and attentive, and he tuned into their bodies, and he made it all about them. And that's something that I rarely get to experience, and that's something that few men do. And the reason is just lack of knowledge. So we have to get the word out. I hope you guys will watch this gentleman's video. It's a 2-hour video. Just go to 1:34 in and watch from there. It's so funny. I happened to just be like, oh my God, this is a long video. So I just clicked on towards the end, and it happened to be at a minute 34. And that I listened from there on, and then I'm like, this is good. So I went back to the beginning, and the first hour and a half was really nothing much. I mean, it was good. He's like, you got to get your psychology right about how to approach a woman, how to talk to a woman, get your dress right, get your confidence right, get your physique right. But then all the sex tips started at a minute 34. So I just happened to start at the right spot. But this is just me sharing as a woman that basically when I'm with my clients, they're attentive to me, but they're not physically attentive to me. They don't want to be, and that's fine. I can make it all about them, but let's not pretend that they're good in bed. They're coming here, they're coming here to be serviced, pretty much, to have to put in very little effort. They don't have to care about my pleasure, really. I make it all about them, and that's easier for me because I don't have to open to them. And, if they really wanted to please me, they would start out with a massage. They would make it all about me. They would massage me and touch me and do whatever to make me come before they ever take their pants down. And I have occasionally had a guy who would try to please me or who would go down on me while his clothes were still on. That's the guy I'm talking about. That's the way to do it. But the moment a guy comes over here and is just taking his clothes off, he's already missed the point, because don't take your clothes off. It's not going to be about you starting out if you want to be good in bed to a woman. That's not to say I haven't enjoyed, the first young man I hooked up with, who's in my book, he actually didn't do any of that. He just blew me away because it was just such a novel experience being with this really young, hunk, tall, strong Marine guy after years of being married to this really old guy. So the novelty really blew me away. But I would say, oh yeah, that guy was good in bed, because that one time he was over here, he was penetrating me while I was pleasuring myself, and he was penetrating me in a rhythmic thrust. I'm going to say it was probably 20 minutes, because it took me a really, really long time, because I was so distracted by his movements and thinking I was taking too long. And then finally I got there. And as soon as I finished, within a few seconds, he finished. He had such good erectile function, and he wanted me to come first. Then other times I saw him, he just gave me a quickie. So I've experienced the same man being really attentive in bed or just being very low quality. That was a big surprise to me too, because I realized they don't always bring out their good dick game. It depends on their mood or whatever, or how much energy they want to put in. Yeah. If I'm going to, I always said I had better sex with my clients than with my ex-husband, because they're emotionally attentive to me, but physically they're not. So I'm going to say that the quality of the sex that I have is probably on a 5 out of 10 or 4 out of 10, because a 10 out of 10 would be, oh my God, that was physically mind-blowing. This guy physically blew me away, and I haven't had that in years. And guys who just lay there in bed are not doing that for me. You got to be up, and you got to be moving around, and you got to make it all about me. And, a lot of men are too lazy for that, or they don't know. So I'm here to tell you. And I really recommend that all you men, maybe you ladies too, this helped me, give me the courage to make this video, is listening to this guy, because he's been with so many women. And I kept thinking, is there something wrong with me? Because I'm comparing myself to porn. And I'm comparing myself to the experiences that men give me. So I'm like, okay, well, this is what they're doing to me. So I guess I should like this. I guess this is what other women like. I guess this is the best I can get. I don't know how good it can be or what I should expect. But this alpha guy, he's raised my freaking standards. He's raised my freaking standards for what I consider acceptable sex. And that's the only sex I would have for free. You know, as a guy who makes it all about me and who cares about my pleasure because he has the energy to care about it. And if I text him afterward, he gets back to me when he checks his phone. And guys are always checking their phone. If a guy isn't texting you back, it's because he doesn't want to. Believe me, I'm around men a lot. They're always checking their freaking phone. They check their phone when they get here. They check their phone before they leave here. They're always checking their phone because there's stuff coming in from their friends or from work or they're on their social media. They're checking their phones. So if they're not texting you back, they're not texting me back, it's because they don't want to. And I'm only going to hook up with guys who will text me back. In fact, I may even hook up with the guy again. If he's attentive like the alpha guy and he texts me back and he's reliable and consistent, maybe I would try it again. I don't know. I'm also trying to figure out if there's something wrong with me for getting attached to these guys. I'm trying to figure that piece out by, you know, being more holding myself and not caring. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure a bunch of stuff out. So again, thank you for watching my video. I'm very interested in knowing, ladies especially, how many times you actually orgasm when you're having sex with a guy. And if you don't, why you don't want to? Do you want to and you're not? Or do you not want to? And why don't you want to? Because for me, when I don't want to, it's because I don't want to open to you. I don't want to give you that. Because I feel like I'm giving you something. When I come with you, I'm giving you something. And I have to trust you. And I don't maybe want to give you that. Or maybe you're not turning me on enough. Or maybe I just had sex with you as a favor, as a duty. So I'm not really that turned on. So I don't really care if I come. But often I would be very resentful with my ex-husband for not caring about it. And if I were hooking up with a guy who didn't care about my pleasure, I would be very resentful. Are you resentful? Are you faking it? Why are you faking it? And guys, are you attentive to the women? What makes you not want to be attentive and put in that 30 minutes? Is it because you don't know you need to do that? You don't want to put in the effort? Why don't you want to put in the effort? You don't like her enough. She's just someone you just want to use women to get off. You're tired. You're lazy. Your abs hurt. You're tired and you just want to get your nuts off. You don't care about her pleasure. You think she's actually coming. Like, I would love to have a conversation about this and hear from all of you guys. Again, the video from this gentleman is in the description, and thank you for watching my video.